What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Hero Zero. This is the Heroes for Hire podcast, and we are back again talking one comic book character as we do every single week. We talk their good points and their bad points, and we just give you a bit of a rundown of everything to do with that character. Now, I am joined as always by my best man, Mr. Sean Mead. Sean, how's it going?
I'm good, Conor. More importantly, how are you?
I'm annoyed this child has not arrived.
We uprooted the whole recording schedule.
So, if anyone doesn't know, this is actually a slightly weird episode in which we're going to be taking a little bit of a break after this for a few weeks because I'm in the process of making a child.
Near the end of the process.
Very near the end. I'm not as involved in this part. But
more hands off for Conor.
But the little fucker hasn't arrived yet and we're waiting.
Already, this kid is the little fucker.
We keep being told by midwives, any day now, suitcase is packed. This little fecker's to showing up, Sean, and I'll be honest with you, with every passing minute, I'm getting an old side-eye glance at it, like, what are you waiting around for?
I like this kid's style, personally. I think we'll be fast friends.
He has a real Sean energy about him.
Lazy, useless, can't count on him for shit.
Annoys me. But so unfortunately this will be the last episode for a little bit of the newer episodes. You will still be getting, me and Sean were talking that every week until we get back there's going to be a few classic episodes that we can release. So that will be Hero Zeros from long ago that may have already been deleted. Maybe Spotify doesn't have them anymore. New listeners can't access them, and we can now put them back up. We still have
the files.
We still have the files, so we can put them back up. We covered a whole range of characters, by the way, back in the day. Like, a lot of our favourites we burned early on.
I think I did Dr. Doom episode 3. It was pretty fucked up.
I think I did Tim Drake episode 2, and I was like, oh, no. Yeah.
Damn it.
So that is all coming up. If you want to support the show, you can just tell one human being that we exist.
Just the one, please.
Just the one, please. I mean, that's all you can do. You can also head on over to our Patreon. That's over there. But most importantly, you could just give us 5 stars on Spotify or iTunes or Apple Pods or wherever you're listening to your show. We're looking for 200 5-star reviews on Spotify before the winter solstice or before this child arrives, which I think might be another 6 months.
Ooh, I wouldn't will that into the universe, Conor.
It's going to be born 4 feet tall, full head of hair.
It's the third host of the show now.
No, it's the main host.
Replacing whom?
That's up for we have to vote. It's like a Jason Todd vote.
Yeah. Who gets axed?
So that is if you could support us all on all those apps, that'd be absolutely great. And thanks for all the kind words for everyone, by the way. Everyone sent in congratulations and all. They were all very understanding about the little bit of a break, which I really appreciate. But Sean, for the week that's in it, and
the last week for a while, what I wanted to do was talk about my favourite character in comic book history for Hero Zero. So we might be here for maybe 3 hours. Yeah, but buckle up, folks.
Secondly, it fits into the narrative because also he's the child of the most famous superhero in comic books.
You're stretching it a little bit, but I'll allow it because you're sleep deprived.
He's the first sidekick, so there's like a loose thread there, I think.
He's a young ward.
A young ward, if you will, yes. So I am going to be covering fan favourite of the pod. Now, maybe not for yourselves, but a major member of a lot of our merch, if you go to our merch store, and that is Lil Dicky himself, Mr. Richard Grayson.
Rick Grayson, ladies and gentlemen.
Rick. Big Rick.
Big Rick. It's Lil Dicky and Big Rick.
Lil Dicky has Big Rick energy.
Oh my god. So yeah, we're going to be here for 4 days talking.
No, it won't be. Look, I'm trying to be as good as possible with this report. Now, I could talk for hours about all the reasons why I think Dick Grayson is the best comic book character that's ever existed, and I'll fight you if you disagree.
And he has done that privately, folks.
I've lost every time. I just go to Comic-Con, shout it out, and then lose in fights.
Get beset by nerds.
But I think what's fascinating about Dick Grayson is, or Lil Dicky, if I call him that multiple times in this little report, is like I grew up watching Batman the Animated Series and the Justice League and the Justice League Unlimited cartoons and all that stuff, right? And I remember there was a very distinct point in my life where I was like, oh, Batman's the coolest character of all time. I love Batman. And then there's like a moment where you're like, maybe I don't really like the big grown man who's like all dark and fear. But that other guy, he seems cool. I don't know what's his deal.
Neat.
Yeah, and the reason why I was doing a bit of thought today, because I was putting together the report, and this is going to make us sound very old, Sean, we're showing our age, but we had a video store in town, right, where I grew up, right?
VHS, folks.
The old VHS, right?
And if I had to bet, he's talking about Extravision.
Actually, no.
What? No?
I think it was like, no, this was before Extravision. This was a random guy's video. I think his name was Jerry, and I think it was just called Jerry's Video Store.
Oh, Jerry knows cinema.
It was not a massive brand, old Jerry. I think he used to give out PlayStation 1s as well. Like, you'd go in and ask him for a PlayStation 1 for the weekend, and he'd give it to you, and then you bring it back on Monday.
That's a lot of trust to place.
It was Jerry. He was that kind of guy, Sean. But anyway, he had a video in store. He had one Batman video, which was "If You're So Smart, Why Aren't You Rich?" which is the episode of Batman the Animated Series where it's the Riddler's first appearance, and Robin is in that. And I rented that video every single week for about maybe a year. Right?
And Jerry never said, "Hey, you can just buy this if you want."
It would cost you a lot less. But he said,
I would love to total up how much you spent on that video as a child.
I know every line in the entire episode, but in that episode, Robin is in it, and I think that's just where it got ingrained in my brain. And then you have Robin's Reckoning, which I watched after that, which is like the primetime Emmy winning episode. It's a 2-parter in the animated series, and then you get into the new Batman Adventures. You have Old Wounds, which is the episode where like you see how they break up, Batman and Robin. And I just basically came to the conclusion, I was like, this dynamic and this character is, I think, the best character in comic books, for the simple reason that I think he shows the most growth, the most logical growth throughout the entire series, because he comes in 1940, Detective Comics number 38, Jesus. 1940. Dick Grayson is older than Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter, Green Arrow, Aquaman, and lots of other characters.
So they've had decades to figure him out and what he's about. But like, he was probably just brought in as like, hey, put in a kid, it'll make kids buy comics more.
Exactly. And he was created by, and shall I know where you're going to come in with this, created by Bob Kane and Bill Finger.
Oh, well, Bob Kane did all the work, surely. He got top billing on that.
Bob told us he did all the work. I gotta trust him.
Why would Bob lie about doing all the work? Bill Finger, what's he ever done?
If you're not up to date on that, it means Bill Finger did everything.
Yeah. Bob Kane had the idea of, hey, what if a man dressed as a bat? And then Bill Finger made up all of the Batman mythos in one night, pretty much.
Yeah. So he was made so Batman could appeal to younger readers and lighten the tone of the Batman series. Because back then, Batman he's still a psychopath now, but he was like even more unhinged, like hanging Joker from the fucking Batplane and everything. Like, just mad shit.
He would kill back in the day.
Oh, he'd go around with a gun all day, right? Robin's name was inspired by Robin Hood, and that's kind of where it was originally stated. Then it kind of morphed into Robin the Bird. And then it kind of, after a little while, they said that Little Robin was the nickname his mother gave him, which I think is like, I think that's a really good encapsulation of what Dick Grayson is as a character, that they start off and he's one thing, and then as the years go on they morph, but it's the one character I think where every time they add something it gets better, it gets like bigger, because we've covered lots of Hero Zeros where they try to dig up, right? Supergirl, where they just keep changing the background and adding things and taking things away, and it just always gets worse. And
I think like Robin is, I think he was probably such a blank slate at the start that it's easy to just, tack on a few little tidbits here and there. Kind of as he grows up and as they decide, hey, no, this is what he stands for.
And because he was there for so long, he also has this thing in comic books where that like he's kind of one of the fathers of the DC universe, but he never feels like that. He always feels like, oh, that's Robin. That's just because I think a lot of people don't even, and I'm sure there's many people listening to this don't know that like there's been like fucking 7 Robins or whatever there is. Right? Yeah, you just hear Batman and Robin, and you're like, oh, cool, Robin. But like he's the first
an interchangeable Robin. Yeah, he started the trend of Bruce Wayne adopting children.
And then he also started the trend of sidekicks becoming more than sidekicks.
Him aging up into his own hero is insane. Like
because the Batman character since 1945 is fairly similar in terms of the ideas of what he does and everything, because he kind of just comes fully formed. But something that had not been done in comic books a lot is a character that's not fully formed, or that you think is fully formed, but then like evolves up into something better.
Literally goes through stuff. And like, and now it seems like kind of common because so many characters have done this since, but Robin is like the first one that it properly stuck. Yeah. And was like, hey, no, this is just what happens in this character's life now.
And it's actually one of the reasons why we talk about Robin being in Batman movies and me being like, I don't want that, for the sole reason that it takes there's so much groundwork that you have to get to before Robin is good. Because at the start he's just a kid that Batman takes in, and that's fine. But when he becomes interesting is when he becomes Nightwing and his own man, and he takes all of Bruce's teachings and is like, I'm going to go a different way, and I'm going to have all those teachings, but I'm going to be a better man along the way as well.
Yeah, and also Dick Grayson is still always Dick Grayson.
Yes,
like he dresses up as a costumed vigilante, but he's still always the man. Whereas Batman is Batman, and Bruce Wayne is an identity.
Exactly. And so, like, I'll give you the rundown of the origin that many people probably already know, but
dead parents.
Yes, I think in the 40s they just killed every parent. I think it's just the main thing.
Because they couldn't have Batman have a kid. He had to come across a kid and just take him in.
And he can't kidnap a kid. That seems bad form.
Can't. Even in the 40s, that was frowned upon.
So he's born to a family of acrobats. Dick Grayson is the boy wonder. He grows up in the circus, and his parents are John and Mary Grayson, and they are the Flying Graysons. They are famed trapeze artists and acrobats, the best in the country. They're the best of the best, and nothing will ever go wrong.
See, it's that end of a sentence that really fucks with me every time.
Well, these happy times soon take a bit of a turn for the worst as one Anthony Zuko, or as I always say, Sean,
gotta do it.
Please, no, you can say it this time.
Tony Zuko.
Fantastic acting in Batman the Animated Series, Robin's Reckoning, episode 1. It's great. But Tony Zuko comes along and he threatens the circus owner. And he's like, he's a mob boss. And he's like, you give us money and we'll give you protection. It's protection money. What can you do? Circus owner is like, no, I don't want to do that. That seems like a bad idea. So Tony's like, don't worry about it. Just don't mind it. So he walks off. But now young Dick Grayson witnesses all this, and he just sees this, and then the guy goes away. They have a show that night, and Tony decides that he's going to just have a little bit of a knife, and he's going to slice a little bit of the ropes that are holding the trapeze set together.
Not all the way, just enough to make him a little
just
bit
enough
weak.
To cause a bit of drab on the old paddles. So the Grayson family are going through their act, and Dick is up there on the big platform looking at his parents flipping,
And there's the best part of Robin's Reckoning Part 1, Sean, is, and it's, I don't know how they got into a children's TV show, but the rope swings and then it swings back and they're both gone.
Yeah, it's empty.
His
parents dead as shit.
Because they were so, like, the thing was they're the best trapeze artists in the country, so they don't need a net, was their big selling point. So when it gets cut, they fall to their death. So Dick Grayson, very similar to Bruce Wayne in that he sees his parents die in front of him. He just has an audience there as well. This is not in Crime Alley.
Yeah, which is kind of fucked up. And also, like, in a way, he sees his parents die in his home. Like, he grew up in the circus.
Yes, yeah. So it's like even more personal. So hundreds of spectators watch on in horror, and among them is Mr. Bruce Wayne. And feeling empathy for the boy's loss, Bruce decides to take the boy in as his legal ward, as none of Dick's family wanted him. The major difference between Bruce and Dick is that while Bruce swore vengeance on his parents' grave, Dick Grayson swore justice on his parents' grave to help him cope with the death better than Bruce had with his own parents. Now, what's interesting here is for years I was like, Dick Grayson, much more mature character, much better evolved character than Bruce, just as a person, right?
Yeah.
And then when you actually look into it a bit deeper, I think Bruce actually... Bruce, not a great person most of the time with feelings, but Bruce grew up after his parents died with nobody. But Dick had his parents die, and then he had Bruce and Alfred come in who understood that, and they kind of raised him in that way.
It is like in Batman Begins where, like, he goes out and then he figures out what's wrong with the suit and then he fixes it. He kind of does it the same way with bringing up Dick, of just like, hey, this fucked me up as a kid, so I'm going to do this. But Bruce still has all that fuck up in him.
And look, Bruce does lots of fuck ups later on, and the two of them are always fighting in comic books. But like the one thing you would say is, like, I think that's where a lot of Dick Grayson's kind of mental attitude comes from, because he had that kind of family unit still.
Yeah.
Even though his parents died, he had the two of them to look after him and like teach him things and make him feel good. Whereas Bruce didn't really have anyone. He had Alfred, but like, now there's two of them. Bruce has kind of went through that trauma as well.
But there is a load of comic panels of Alfred being like, I wish I'd done more for you.
Because he didn't know. How the fuck do you look after that? Whereas Bruce is the only person in the world that kind of understands where his brain is. And so after a while, Dick realises that his mentor is doing a lot of late nights and comes to the conclusion that after a long time that the secret reveals. And Bruce says, I'm Batman, and I would... And so Dick Grayson's like, I want to join you, I want to fight crime. But first of all, Bruce decides that he needs an extensive training in just everything. So Bruce trains him from the ground up. So that's kind of another difference, where Bruce went around the world to train, and Dick gets trained by Bruce, and only Bruce.
Yeah, so Bruce is a master in so many disciplines. And Dick just has all that, but it's all from Bruce's perspective.
Yeah, and obviously because they both have like a massive urge to fight the criminal underworld, so there's like a bond, an understanding between the two immediately. And finally, Dick had to pass a final test, which was called the Gauntlet. And his final test was he had to elude the dark night on the streets of Gotham for one night, from sunset to sunrise, without any outside help. And he succeeded. And he actually brought a gangster to justice along the way. So Bruce was like, okay, you're in. You're the boy wonder.
All right, pretty good, I guess.
He won't give him the credit. Yeah, I suppose it's alright. I would have done it slightly differently, but alright.
Yeah, I mean, I'm dressed like a bat and you're in fucking red and
each
yellow.
Each of their own. I'm fucking 6'3". I could beat you up easy, lad.
You're a child.
So another interesting thing about Dick Grayson is that you probably know a bit more light-hearted than Bruce.
Funny guy. And that's one of his major strengths, is that even though he has the same drive as Bruce, in that gotta fight crime
criminal underworld, criminals should not be around. Like, he's got to stop all that. He has that kind of resolve that he just he just has a willingness to never give up, right? And however, for his first year of Robin, he was describing it as like an adventure. Like, the whole thing is like, this is great crack. I'm having loads of fun. Nothing could go wrong. However, his so-called adventure quickly turns into one of probably the most interesting parts of Dick Grayson. Is a story they added in, which was after his first year, he thinks everything's going great. And then Two-Face kidnaps the new district attorney and Batman, which he is wont to do. And Robin shows up, and he's suspending them both from a hangman's noose in a double gallows death trap.
Yeah.
Right? All twos. It's Two-Face. So Batman instructs Robin to prioritise saving the DA. And he follows his orders, and he throws a batarang at the noose, freeing the DA, therefore saving his life. Unfortunately, Two-Face's trap is a two-parter trap, and there's a false floor below him, in which he then falls, and he falls into a big tub of water. Before Robin can get him out, Two-Face starts beating the shit out of him. The DA drowns to death in front of Robin. And
that's fucked up.
While this is happening, Batman is tied up trying to get out, and he's watching as Two-Face beats the shit out of Robin in front of him, like this kid. And that's the first time you realise, oh, he's still a kid. Holy shit.
Yeah, like, he's happy-go-lucky, but he is, like, he's what, 14?
Yeah, about that, yeah. So eventually Batman frees himself and stops Two-Face, but Dick is basically permanently scarred by this. And this frightens Batman so much that he temporarily suspends Dick, and the event continues to haunt Dick for many years afterwards. But when he does eventually return, he's much stronger and smarter than before. So that's where they kind of take the fun part of his character, but then they like turn it on its head and say, okay, you can be fun and all that, but he also has that resolve that he's like, things can go fucking wrong here, so keep your head in a swivel.
He is like he becomes like a soldier in a way, and like he's on Batman's mission, and he's learning more and more, but he never loses like, hey, the world is still an objectively good place.
I am always of the opinion he's just better Bruce Wayne, and I think Bruce Wayne thinks that as well. In my canon. Now that's obviously, but in my head, Bruce is like, yeah, Dick is better than me. Like he has all of his strengths and like a lot less of his weaknesses.
Yeah, isn't there a thing? It's like when Batman breaks his back.
I'll get to that, Sean.
Okay, never mind. Continue.
What I also wanted to mention with Dick Grayson is, of course, the Teen Titans, which was a massive part of this character's growth, because you have all these sidekicks in comic books, and they realise they have none to do, really. Like, main characters are kind of always just going to be the main characters. So they create a different team. Also, X-Men was big at the time, so...
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to play into it.
Yeah, who do we have to counteract the X-Men and Fantastic Four and all that going on? And Spider-Man, of course, appeals to all the teenagers. We create the Teen Titans, which is all the sidekicks coming together, which was Kid Flash and Aqualad and Wonder Girl and Speedy and Dick Grayson. And Robin was chosen as the leader of the team. And this was like massive for his character growth, because it kind of got him away from the shadow, literally, of Bruce. That you're like,
and around kids his own age as well,
and you realise how much more advanced he is than them in terms of like, he's the leader. But like hanging out with Bruce, it's like when you're an only child and you only hang out with like your parents' friends, you become like way more mature because like you don't hang out with people your age, if that makes sense. Like he's,
you ever talk to those like 9-year-olds, but they're only ever around adults?
Yes, basically that, right? Like, so he goes into the Teen Titans and he's like talking like Batman. He's like, well, what would Batman do here? They're like, I don't know, I'm fucking 12. I don't fucking know.
I just want to eat ice cream and have a good time myself.
I run real fast. That's all I do.
I have 2 arms for now. That's Speedy.
So he continued his adventures with Batman, but he also then in comic books you start seeing that progression, because Robin starts to take on solo missions as well, and he finds himself very capable as a crime fighter on his own. And then you realise the mysterious Raven, who is pretty big in terms of the Teen Titans, always a major member of that team. The Teen Titans had kind of that original version disbanded in comic books, and then in like late 70s, 80s, they decided to bring them back. Raven summons Dick Grayson and several young heroes, and they're like, you're in charge. Robin, you're the main guy in charge. You're going to lead us. And he's slightly older now. He's maybe like 16, 17 at this stage. And this is when you have the whole thing where he falls in love with Starfire, who is Starfire and Barbara Gordon. I'm not going to make a decision on which side you have to pick, but they're both lovely. It's a Twilight situation. People are not happy either way, Sean. If you pick one and they don't like, you kind of have to pick one or the other. I will say I kind of prefer Barbara, but that's just me.
But Barbara, I've seen The Killing Joke, the animation, Conor. Barbara's with Batman.
Burn it in hell. Any iteration that has Barbara with Bruce Wayne is the weirdest. I just get heebie-jeebies.
It's an odd choice to ever make.
Odd. It's just really weird.
Also, I like him with Starfire.
No, God, I hate that. He then, at the age of 19, and after 6 years of being Robin, Dick was shot in the shoulder by the Joker, and this prompted Batman to end his sidekick career for good. And in 1984, Marv Wolfman, who obviously is one of the most famous comic book writers with the Teen Titans and all at the time, he, in Tales of Teen Titans number 44, Marv Wolfman and artist George Perez, who were obviously massive back then, they decide that he's no longer Robin, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have to be a superhero.
Great move.
The ideas that take place here is like I think it's one of the most major shifts in comic books. It's such a fascinating time because they're kind of like, he's 19, he's a bit old to be the boy wonder. He's just a grown man now. He's like in college and he's like still dressed up as Robin.
And presumably there was other superheroes active at the time who were like 19, 20. Like full-fledged on their own heroes.
Yeah, and so Dick and Batman have to have this big major fight and storyline. Dick moves out and he's like, fuck you, if I'm not going to be Robin anymore, I don't know what I'm going to do. He has no idea. He's in Titans mode, Sean. He's Brendan Twits.
Fuck Batman.
What a great show. Dick did continue working with the Teen Titans at this point, but his identity as Robin was no longer fit for him, and he decided that he needed something else, so he was uncertain what to do. And in one of my favourite storyline moments, he turned to someone he knew would understand, Superman. Somebody he's known since he was a kid.
And who watched him grow up as well.
And very briefly, Dick considered giving up the whole crime fighting gig. He couldn't imagine his life, but he couldn't really imagine what else he could do. But if he couldn't be Robin, who was Dick Grayson if he wasn't Robin? He was always just Robin. Yeah. But Superman had the answer, because he meets up with Superman, and in a great comic book panel, Superman tells him that long ago on Krypton, a man was cast out by his family, just as Dick had been. He dreamed of a world ruled by justice and set out to protect the helpless of Krypton. His true identity was never revealed, but his name was Nightwing. And Dick goes, interesting. Superman, that is a great idea.
Completely unrelated. Everyone from Krypton's gone, right? Like no one will know.
In terms of copyright, I need to follow up. Am I going to be sued?
In patent law, does this mean...
Does patent law go across the galaxy if a planet's been blown up?
I like that it's Superman that gives him the name, though. Because
him and Batman aren't talking at the time.
Yeah. And Superman is like, he's hope where Batman is vengeance.
And to me, Dick Grayson has always been more hope. Dick Grayson is Superman, but in the Bat family. Like, he's always like the light. He's the good version.
Which isn't that why Tim Drake is like, Batman needs a Robin, because otherwise Batman is just darkness.
Did you read this report?
Oh fuck! No, I'm sorry. I'm trying to have a conversation with a friend here.
You thought I was going to get through this without mentioning little Timmy Drake. Come on.
He's not little Timmy Drake. He doesn't have a nickname.
No, he doesn't actually. He's Lil Dicky all the way. Superman gives him the name Nightwing, and in one of comics' best moments, I think, he gets unveiled in that awful outfit that's very like Las Vegas casino outfit, that they do quickly change it, but he gets revealed in Teen Titans number 44 as Call Me Nightwing. That's my new name, and he's going to be only Nightwing. And his costume then they change and he reveals that it's partially inspired by his father, but also by Deadman's costume. It's a variant of Boston Brad's Deadman costume as well at the time, but just blue and black, which I think is a cool colour scheme.
Yeah. It's and he sticks with blue and black mostly.
Yeah, I don't like it when he goes to red. I'm not a fan of it. I don't know why, but red to me is Batman Beyond. Like, just leave.
Yeah, that's the thing. In your head, your brain is like, no. That's Terry's colour. You can't have that.
You have blue is your take, right?
Yeah.
So he had finally moved out of the shadow of the Bat and would lead the Titans through lots of different times in comic books. Now him and Bruce still hate each other, but they never really sort out their strained relationship, but he decides then, because at this point he finds out that he's been replaced, which adds even more layers of what the fuck, Bruce, to the entire thing.
It's like, you won't put me in the field, but you'll bring in a new child.
And there's a weird thing, because I think Jason and Dick Grayson don't really ever talk. Jason Todd's the second Robin, and they have a good relationship now, but like back then they don't really have it, but only because I think Jason Todd is, I don't know, maybe 12, 13, right? And he comes in and Bruce is just like, don't talk to that guy, he's a dickhead. So like, they're never going to interact, because anytime they do, Bruce is there and Dick is just like, him and Dick are like trading barbs back and forth to each other.
Yeah. Like, he's not gonna hang around at the time that Jason is actively Robin.
No, and so he firstly is obviously really offended at this, and then he finds out that Jason's dead, only to be killed by the hands of the Joker. And so he's like, fucking hell, like this is even more fucked up. So now my replacement is dead, and now we just know how to feel. And they do remain at odds at each other, but Dick leaves the Teen Titans, and he was searched out by one little Tim Drake at this point. This is in the 90s. And he was a long-time fan of the dynamic duo. Now, if you don't know anything about Tim Drake, he's a third Robin, but he's the only one smart enough to figure it out by himself. He figured out their secret identities just because he's a genius.
Yeah, he's just that good at detectiving.
Yeah, and I think he comes and finds Dick Grayson and says, "You're Robin." And Dick's like, "No, I wasn't." He's like, "No, I know you were."
he like pulls up, Dick, please sit down.
He's like 12. I'm not an idiot, Dick, right? So he wants Dick to return as Robin, because after Jason Todd dies, Batman, of course, gets really dark and fucked up, and like he does the Andrew Garfield stops throwing his punches, just starts breaking everyone's bones more than he was.
And he was doing it a lot up until
he was breaking spines left, right and centre, but instead of doing like 7 a week, he was up to like 14 spines a week, and people were like, alright, this is a bit fat. So Tim Drake realises this, goes to Dick Grayson and is like, we need a Robin, and Dick refuses outright, but he does notice that Batman does need a partner. So he assisted Batman in capturing Two-Face, but then Tim Drake shows up, and Dick vouches for Tim and says, why don't you just bring in this kid? He's clearly smart. He clearly knows what he's talking about. He loves this, and he would be a great Robin. And he pleads for Tim's case with the help of Alfred. And due to their arguments and the realisation that the Batman needs a Robin, Tim Drake became the third boy wonder because of Dick Grayson vouching for him to Bruce. Even though they weren't really talking at the time, he was like, you'd be fucking crazy not to take this kid. He's amazing.
Yeah, it's like, I think you're a dickhead. However, this kid's a genius and someone should use him.
And he, for some reason, thinks you're cool.
Yeah.
So they do manage to mend things. Ironically, it's because Batman's back is broken by Bane. And initially it doesn't go well because Batman decides that they need a new Batman. And him and Dick aren't talking. So he's like, Azrael, you will be the next Batman. And Dick, there's a weird thing where Dick is, I think he's come out and said, he's like, I didn't want to be Batman, but it's amazing. He didn't even ask.
Yeah, it's fucked up that I wasn't even considered.
Like, it was like, who's this guy?
Yeah.
I don't even know who Azrael is.
You met him like a month ago.
I've known you since I was 10.
You raised me to be you.
So there's like this weird dichotomy of like, I didn't want it, but I wanted you to ask me, so I knew you'd be interested. But you didn't ask.
And I could graciously turn it down.
And then him and Bruce have this big massive argument, and Bruce says that he thought Dick wouldn't want to do it as he was his own person, so he didn't even ask him. Then Dick tells him that he didn't want to be Batman, but he would have done anything. He would have done anything if he was asked. If Bruce came to him and said, I really need you right now, he would have been, okay, even though I think you're a dickhead, fair enough.
And Dick would put the
mission,
the mission and the mantle of Batman above his own needs and his own
exactly. And so in the defining moment of Batman's history, Bruce admits that these sort of arguments that they have all the time are what occurs between fathers and sons. And
God, Bruce, you really saved it at the last minute there.
The great thing about Bruce is, even though he's a dickhead, he has to have that one moment you're like, okay, fair enough.
Fucking yeah. I guess your parents died that one time.
I guess, oh, fuck you. Break those spines. So Bruce then does actually later ask Dick to fill in for him briefly as he recovers from his back injury, because he realises the mistake he made. And he leaves the mantle to Dick, and Dick becomes Batman for the first time in these comic books. This is in the 90s. And he finishes rebuilding his skills. During his early days as Batman, he began to rounding up the remaining Arkham escapees alongside Robin, who's Tim Drake at this point. The two of them are very much just like big brother, little brother. They are best friends.
That's a cool dynamic.
It's such a great dynamic, but they're both so similar that sometimes the dynamic I like more comes up later on, but that dynamic I very much enjoy, of the two of them just being like, they just got each other's back all the way, like they never fight. That's
the thing, is like they seem like they would be the best team like in terms of operations, of like, hey, this will just work. Yeah, because they'll just work together. And so by the 1990s, after this, right, so Batman comes back and he takes over. And the two actually finally discuss the issues and they work through it, becoming closer than they'd ever been in years for the first time in like 50, which is mad to think of. Like in real life, like 15 years of comics have passed. Yeah. Of actual beef between these characters.
Like they just don't talk to each other. And it's like they're Batman and Robin, but they don't talk. But there is also a Robin in comics, so everyone thinks, oh, Batman and Robin, they're just a team. But then you've pulled the thread slightly, and it's like, oh, here's all this shit that happened. So by the 90s, Nightwing had become one of the DC's most popular characters. With Robin already having his own solo series, they decide Nightwing needs his own one as well. So in 1995, Dennis O'Neil decides to do a little mini-series, and it was a massive sales hit. People loved Nightwing. So DC awarded Nightwing an ongoing series in 96 and brought in Chuck Dixon and Scott McDaniel to do the writing and artistry for it. And they immediately set Nightwing apart from his mentor by giving him his own city, which was Bloodhaven, the corrupt, decaying harbour town that was just north of Gotham. And it allowed him to be close enough to Gotham that he was kind of still part of the Bat family, but he has his own city and his own villains and his own series of adventures. And the artistry, by the way, in those comics is so good. Like, they just knocked it out of the park. All those covers are like ingrained in my brain. When I think of Nightwing, I think of those covers. Like, they're so good.
That's sick. I like how he gets like, he is just, like, for want of a better term, he's the Batman of that city. And
Bloodhaven is worse than Gotham, is what they say. It's like, oh God, Bloodhaven is where all of Gotham's worst people go after they leave Gotham.
Gee, it's like Dublin.
I get fucked. They're just like a different county. It's like fucking Cork. Like fucking Leitrim. Well, no, nobody goes to Leitrim.
No, you can drive through Leitrim.
You just drive through. Don't worry about it. 7 people. So after several months of being alone, he begins in Bloodhaven. He does actually renew his childhood crush with Barbara Gordon, which I think is a great will they won't they in comic books. They normally, especially him and Starfire, or him and Barbara, they normally get to the point of marriage. Then you have the comic book blow off, obviously.
Of course, and then repeat that for decades.
Yeah. He becomes a police officer in Bloodhaven. There's like I think that series runs for like 15 years or 10 years or whatever. Like, it's a massive storyline. It's completely separate to Batman. It's his own entire thing in a brand new city. So he kind of stands on his own there, and he just becomes his own hero, really. And there's a cool story called JLA, The Obsidian Age. It's a story where the Justice League disappear, and Batman obviously has like heroes chosen a contingency plan, as he always does, in case everyone disappears. And the new Justice League consists of Atom, Green Arrow, Hawkgirl, Firestorm, and Batman chooses Nightwing to lead them. And that's the first time that he's like, Nightwing's like, oh, he does like me, I think.
Yeah. Like, you can do this. Like, it's the equivalent of if he had have asked him to be Batman when he broke his back.
Yeah. Like, it's kind of like, oh, no, I trust you. It means more.
It's when your dad says, hey, would you mind throwing those burgers on the grill? Like, it's a huge moment.
But it doesn't have to be said. But there's like eye contact made to be like,
there's a respect about it.
Yeah, there's a respect there. Okay, great. And so Dick Grayson then, I just wanted to tell that little bit of a story, but he has this whole thing with Bloodhaven. We talked about Blockbuster a few weeks ago, so you can go back and listen to that if you want to talk about that storyline. Blockbuster is his like big bad in Bloodhaven. But I wanted to finish on Battle for the Cowl. I don't go into New 52 because I don't want to talk about that. So,
doesn't he become a secret agent with amnesia for a while?
Let's not talk about that. No, let's talk about Spiral. Oh, jeez. Oh, no. It just makes me rub my head. So sometimes, you know, when your favourite character is involved in a shit story, you're like,
I'm a Spider-Man fan, yeah.
You read Spider-Man. You know yourself. You can just blog it out. Battle for the Cowl is my favourite storyline in comic books, and it leads to Batman and Robin, which was written by Grant Morrison. And this double act is basically Bruce Wayne dies. You think he's dead. Darkseid send him back in time. Let's not get into it. Everyone's fighting for the Batman. The Batman mantle. Jason Todd comes back dressed as Batman, starts shooting people. And he's just good. I'm solving crime. I'm just like old Brucey wanted me to.
The end result is the same.
I'm shooting them in the spine. Bruce would have been happy. But obviously Dick is like, I don't want to be Batman. I don't want to be Batman. I don't want to be Batman. Tim Drake is like, you should probably be Batman because you're like next up in terms of all of the Robins that are here.
You are the only one who probably should be Batman.
Exactly. And you're the only one like we all respect. And so eventually Dick Grayson takes on the mantle and he becomes Batman in comic books. And what starts is him and Jason Todd have this amazing fight on top of a train to end that comic book run. Real good. But him and Damian Wayne, who is the other Robin at the time. There's lots of Robins. Tim Drake is Robin, right? But Damian Wayne is like lying around the place, and Wayne Manor just like eating fucking chips and just like talking shit. Being a 12-year-old prick, right? Or 10-year-old or whatever. And Dick becomes Batman, and he's like now in charge, and he says, I want Damian as my Robin. And Tim Drake is fuming. Like, he's so mad. And he's like, what are you talking about? Me and you, we're like the crew. We're back together.
We're friends.
We're back. And Dick says, yeah, but you're like my equal. Me and you are equals. Batman should not be... Like, Robin should be somebody that Batman is training up and that he can teach. Yeah. But I don't have anything to teach you. You're, like, finished. You're done. You're your own person. And
You've
there's
learned
like this
all
really...
I can teach.
And you know what's great about that storyline is it's Dick Grayson saying to a different Robin, you are not Robin anymore. You can move into a new identity.
That's pretty cool.
Isn't it so good?
It's a very well written story.
And it just, then you have like him and Damian have an amazing relationship in comic books because Damian hates everybody equally, a natural dickhead to all. He's just think of like
professional hater Damian
just
Wade.
A professional dickhead. He just is so mean, but the only person he likes secretly is Dick. And there's a really great... That whole entire run is fantastic because you have a really fun-loving Batman and a really serious, grumpy Robin. And Batman taking the piss out of Robin is such a weird dynamic. Like, he keeps saying to Damien that he fancies Batgirl, or Supergirl. He's like, you have a crush on Supergirl, don't you? I seen you having a... And Damien's like, no, I don't.
I can tell. Come on, you can talk to me. It's okay.
Just like big, like really big brother to like little brother, just like winding him up for no reason.
But I like how Dick had to learn to be serious, but then Damien has to learn to like be semi-happy.
Damian is learning that you can be serious and also have fun. That's what Dick is teaching him. And it gets to the point when Batman actually comes back in comic books, or Bruce comes back in comic books, Damian is actually disappointed and he's like, so that means me and you can't be Batman and Robin anymore. I like that.
I had a fun time with that.
And you know, like when a teenager says, I like that, is like the highest compliment they can possibly give.
To express any level of interest in anything. Yeah,
like he gives him all. I was not like, being your Robin didn't make me sick. Fucking hell.
Oh, calm down, soldier.
And so, powers and abilities, Sean. Acrobatics. He's a natural athlete. He's one of the 3 people in the world who can pull off a quadruple flip. And I like one of his abilities being charisma, because he just has sex with anything that moves in comic books. But
I'd have sex with him. Have you seen that, man?
But not in like a James Bond way. All these women want to have sex with him way.
Yeah, no, he's a good time, you know.
He's got intimidation. He's skilled enough to get Scarecrow, who only fears Batman, to talk. And was also able to contain a riot at Arkham Asylum. His leadership is one of the main things that like drives him, and that like for all the fun and games, he's an incredible leader in terms of tactically leading a team, which is why he's always the leader of like the Outsiders, the Teen Titans, the Justice League. When Batman's not there and the team goes down, he gets brought in as the leader.
Yeah, he's naturally good with people.
Yeah, and that's actually his main strength, is that everyone loves him, but like in a way of like, because he kind of grew up with them all. Like he grew up with his dad as Batman, so he was at the Justice League meetings, but he was 12, and so when he gets to like 22, they're like, I've known you since you were a kid. What's going on? What help do you need?
Good to see you, man. What's up with you? You know?
Yeah,
and also Batman's a prick, so by contrast,
yeah, we hate your dad. But also, like all the Teen Titans, he doesn't really ever fall out with them. Like if they're setting up a team, like Speedy set up the Outsiders, first thing he does, go straight to Dick Grayson. I want you to lead the team.
He's a good guy you can call. He's just a friend.
He's just sound. That's all you can say.
You know, he's made meaningful connections with other people, is what's gone on there.
He's Bruce, but improved.
Yes, I'm Bruce, but much better.
Much better. And so due to his training with Batman, he possesses extreme skill in escapology. He was able to escape a maze before the Flash could, release himself from police handcuffs in an instant, and was able to use a Tibetan mind technique to escape virtual reality at one point. He has a genius level intellect. Now he's not as smart as Bruce and Tim, but he's pretty fat. He's pretty smart. He's like surrounded by like the smartest people in comic books, so he's like the third smartest.
But like, put him in a regular room, he's the smartest guy there.
Yeah, like, he's in the VAT family with Barbara Gordon and Bruce Wayne and Tim Drake. Like, they're like, oh, you're an idiot.
He doesn't need to be a super G. He can be regular genius.
Yeah. He's got all the usual investigation, multilingualism, tactical analysis. You'll love this, Sean. Indomitable will.
Hey,
he's able to resist all of Scarecrow's potent fear toxins. He's able to resist and overcome mind control. He was even a candidate to succeed the Green Lantern at one point.
That's cool. That's an actual tangible thing of like, hey, the thing that picks the strongest willed person in the vicinity. Yeah, he could have been one of them.
Yeah, exactly. And in terms of martial arts, he's got all those. And I think that's about it, other than the peak human strength, peak human agility, peak human speed, peak human reflexes, all the peaks.
All the peaks. It's like a mountain range over here.
Yeah, so that is my report on Nightwing, Sean.
What a great report, Conor. What a great character. And what a great final Hero Zero for a little while. Final new Hero Zero, shall we say?
We hope everyone likes Dick Race. If you don't, that's fine. Message us in. Tell us.
Give Conor your address because he wants to personally fight you.
Please, no, that's fine.
It's fine. It's all right to be wrong.
Do you think I should call the child Lil Dicky, even boy or girl?
I think pitch Richard and like
right,
Richard.
Right.
Is what's the lady Richard? Ricky? Like Ricky Lake?
Like Ricky Lake. I'm going to pitch Ricky Lake, the full name.
Ricky Lake Lawler.
I think it's got a ring to it. So, I mean, Sean, I think that's about it if you want to take us out for the last time in a little while.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode of Hero or Zero. We will be back soon. There will be back catalogue episodes coming out over the next few weeks while Conor gets stuff sorted and we figure out what the schedules look like going forward. There is a Patreon. There might not be a lot coming out on it in the next month or so, but it's patreon.com/Heroes for Hire podcast. If you want to support us over there, absolutely fair. If you already support us over there, thank you very, very much. We said on one of the Patreon reviews, there is no pressure. Like, if you're not expecting something this month, we won't mind. We'll see you later. We'll see you when we're back. There is also the merch store, heroesforhire.ie/shop. Twitter's at Heroes for Hire Pod, the 4 is the number 4. Facebook is Detective Divilment's discussion group. Instagram is Heroes for Hire Podcast. Blue Sky is Heroes for Hire Podcast. And the best way to ever help out the show is to tell one human being that we exist.
Oh, I just read one thing. Batman stated that Nightwing is the best and only person he's ever picked in his life to lead the JLA in his absence.
Jeez, you gotta feel bad for anyone else who's ever done that.
Superman's like, oh, shucks.
Oh, Jesus. Poor guy Gardner.
Okay, so I've been Conor Lawler.
I've been Sean Mason.
I shall see you all next. See you in a while, guys.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.